Hello, everyone, and welcome to an exciting and thought provoking panel discussion on the Veteran Edge, understanding the unique value military veterans bring to the workplace. I'm Rituja Joshi, Talent Acquisition Specialist at Ekam. I'm thrilled to be moderating today's conversation as we explore the incredible contributions veterans make in the professional world. Today, we'll dive into what makes veterans such an valuable asset in the workplace, the unique experiences they carry with them, and how organizations can better leverage their talents. We have an amazing lineup of panelists with diverse background. Let's get started by introducing our panelists. Please welcome Colonel Sandesh Sharma, a 1987 batch singles officer. During his army career, he did serve in various formations in deserts, mountains, high altitude plains, and jungle terrains. He took part in Operation Rakshak, Operation Vijay, Operation Parakram, an alumnus of prestigious Defense Service Staff College. Colonel Sharma also got the opportunity to serve as a staff officer in General Staff Branch of the formation. He also served in electronic warfare and own units. He was seconded to Ministry of External Affairs to set up an international level crisis mitigation center. He took PMR from the Army in 2009. He holds masters in defense and strategic studies, BTech in electronic communication, and is a certified project management professional. Post his army career, he joined a leading training and consulting company as a principal consultant and master facilitator. There, he trained corporate world professionals till 2019. He has been guiding and supporting armed force officers looking for transition into the corporate world in his individual capacity. Our next panelist is Krunal Patel, Vice President and Head of India Business Entity Data. As the head of India Business, Krunal holds the responsibility for overseeing business operations in India related to SAP, ServiceNow, analytics, and associated with innovative solutions. Krunal is focused on aiding customers in successfully utilizing the latest technology in business applications and exploring new avenues with transformational solutions in Gen AI and Business AI. We warmly welcome you both. Thank you for making time for this discussion. We look forward to an interactive session. So, without further ado, let's get started and talk about skills. Colonel Sandesh, let's start with you. How do you think military skills and experiences equip veterans to drive success in a corporate setup?
Thank you, Rutuja, for giving me the opportunity to interact with Kronal and you on this very important topic. Yeah, veterans bring a lot of skills on the table, and I'm not going to talk about the normal skills which normally people talk about as the integrity, loyalty, and honesty. That goes without saying. But I would like to highlight something which is very, uh, I would say that all ranks, go through that, and that skill is the adaptability as far as the armed forces officers or defense persons are concerned. Every 2 years, you get posted to different localities, different environment, the battlefield or vis-a-vis for the corporate, it is a marketplace is totally different. The stakeholders are different. The colleagues are different. The equipment is different, and they get adapted very fast, and they are producing results every time. So adaptability is something is which very close to uh, every defense services personnel. The number two is the organization skills. As you are aware that you know the changing dynamics, changing environment. We also have VUCA world in the armed forces, and the armed forces personnel are able to organize. And I'm out here. I'm not only stressing on the organization capabilities of the officers, but also of the junior level leaders at the NCOs and the JCOs level. They are able to organize effectively and able to get the work done in a much more proper manner. Third skill I would like to highlight is the execution capability. See, I'm sure Kunal and you both will agree that 100% workforce in every organization is involved in execution. And if you have workforce, if you have professionals who are, screwed up in wonderful execution, they can be a very good asset to any team. And armed forces, so, our history says that all kinds of environment, whether it's a war, whether it's counterinsurgency operations, whether it is aid to civil authorities. Our armed forces personnel have really shown that they have wonderful, uh, execution skills. And last point I would like to surely highlight is that armed forces personnel across the rank have wonderful training agility. I'm sure you would be aware that in the armed forces, right from the time when you get recruited till the time you retire, at whatever rank you retire, periodically you're undergoing a lot of training courses so that you are upskilling yourself. So one is that it's a mindset that armed forces personnel are never shy of learning new things, and that I think is a wonderful skill, a wonderful quality in the armed forces personnel because that makes them tenacious to learn new things and adjust in new environments. So I would probably highlight these four skills. What I can make out is something which armed forces people bring on the table. Thank you.
Absolutely. Very, very insightful. Uh, Kunal, would you like to share your thoughts here?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me here, Rutuja, and
Absolutely.
very, very proud to be part of this entire campaign. Uh, Colonel Sandesh, thank you for your service at the start.
Thank
Uh,
you.
I know it is a lot which comes when you take this decision to serve for country before self. And that itself is a very, very proud moment for me. And thank you for allowing me to share the stage with all of you. I think one skill which I really, really think is very differentiated and very critical for success in any organization, whether it is uh, Indian Army, Indian Air Force, or even a giant corporate or a small, medium-sized enterprise, uh, is resource management. I think resource management for the time, we all have seen time and again stories from Indian Defense Forces. And the recent one, which I could recollect, is the one when there was a cloud burst and heavy rainfall in Sikkim. And in 48 hours, the Indian Army was able to build a suspension bridge which connected the border village with the mainland. And I think this kind of ex, exercise and this kind of demonstration of uh, resource management skills uh, actually leads to a lot when it comes to managing corporate entities and enterprises. So we have seen our servicemen and women successful in topics like operation management, supply chain management, uh, and this is primarily coming because how in a not always available resource situation still get to the outcome that adds up to the overall success of the unit. So I think for me that becomes very critical. And even in the new age, as you go move forward, I think with Gen AI and artificial intelligence becoming mainstream, with all this digital transformation, business transformations happening, I think it will be very imperative and important that you are expert, and this is a little kind of oxymoron here. You have to be an expert in general management. Um, and then that's where the world is going. And if you ask me 20 years back, it was more of a specialization. You have to be expert in one domain, one field. But generally now it has become an expert in general management across all the field. And resource management, by and large, becomes very critical. Your ability to motivate people, which is your primary resource, your ability to find the equipments, which is again more of a supply chain topic, your ability to orchestrate everything and influence that everything happens on time, which is more of a time management topic. So I think if you encompass the entire thing, the resource management, which loosely becomes project management and very loosely becomes organization management, is something which is very important. And I feel that that is something which Indian Defence Force has done excellently well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing those amazing thoughts. Moving on. addition to this only, in what ways do you think that veterans' experience with working in the high pressure dynamic environments shape their personality for a successful corporate career? Kunal, if you would like to
I thi-
share your thoughts first.
Yeah, I think I would be very interested to respond to that, Rutuja. I think generally over the last so many years, Indian uh, uh, defense uh, men and women entering into corporate world were generally very stereotyped towards some professions, which I don't agree to. Uh, I think earlier we said that okay, if we have a retired or a person who has taken a voluntary retirement from army would be very well fit for topics like security management and so on and so forth. But I have seen time and again successes of some of the very dear friends of mine who
Uh,
has taken retirements and now working with some of the very prestigious companies including entity data. We do have stories to tell. But generally I've seen them very successful in sales, in people management, in all the aspects, even in marketing, in business management. So I think for me what differentiates a good corporate citizen is the discipline and the resourcefulness that the person brings in. And generally, that comes with a lot of experience. Generally, that comes with a lot of, I would not say we are not in a life and death situation in the corporate world. Whereas
yeah.
it is in some of the situations where Indian Defense Forces get in. So I think I often kind of tell my teams that, guys, you need to look at how critical it is that when you say current work is a pressure, think about those who are in a life and death situation. And for me, that kind of is a benchmark, you know, and no job that we do is as difficult or as critical as an Indian army man on the border protecting the country, or a cardiac surgeon doing an open heart surgery. Uh, so I think for me that is critical. All that pressure becomes it's like a person who is experienced in driving a very heavy vehicle in a
Mm.
mountaineer tunnel is been asked to drive um, a super high-end car in a city landscape, and which means that it is definitely a success, and I'm very happy and confident about that whatever veterans, whether in the area of cyber security, information security, physical security, people management, or even at boards, I have seen some
Mm.
very successful board members who have been ex defense, and I kind of, that is my take on that. Well, there is a lot of high pressure uh, experiences in Indian defense, but that pressure when they come to corporate becomes very reasonable, and also their success rate is very high because they have that kind of a uh, attitude towards managing pressure, uh,
Correct.
and then all the other skills which Kana Sunday spoke about, and on top of it, resource management. So those are the ideas that I have broadly. Very. I have few people working with me, for me, and so on and so forth. So that way also I've seen a sea change, and that influences a lot of other civilians to kind of emulate the level of commitment that this workforce bring in as compared to generally who has kind of only seen a civil life. So that's about it, Rutuja.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Kunal. Colonel Sandesh will like to know your views as well.
Yeah, thank you, Krunal, for bringing out that very important aspect. And I'm glad that you are sensitized to that fact that armed forces personnel, they constantly operate in very high pressure situations. Uh, when it is a war scenario, of course, there is a pressure. Even in the counterinsurgency and anti-terrorist operation, again there is a pressure. and it's a totally different pressure than what we can envisage in the corporate world. So the stakes are very, very high when it comes to the armed forces. If I may, with all due respect, if I may say that, if I'm working in a corporate in a company, and if I falter, I may lose some numbers, and I might be able to recover them in next quarter. But when we are working in the armed forces environment, our mistakes are not recoverable. Our mistakes come in body bag, and if we commit huge mistakes, the country has to lose its face. So the stakes are very, very high, and that's why there is a tremendous amount of pressure onto the mindset of the leaders, whether they are junior leaders or senior leaders. But they continue operating, as you rightly mentioned, that their execution success rate is very, very high. They work very swiftly. They understand pressure. They also know how to cater for contingencies and on the feet planning. And that is something which I feel is something which would surely be of very, very great use in the corporate world. The environment is comparatively less pressurized, if I may say so, in the corporate as compared to the armed forces. So I think it's in DNA of all the leadership hierarchy in the armed forces to work in the high pressure environment.
Absolutely, absolutely, Colonel Sandesh. Thank you. So moving on, let's talk about CSR. So, is the focus of hiring veterans in India more about a corporate social responsibility than talent acquisition? Runal, would you like to start first?
I think so. There are two views to it. One is my personal view, and one is the organizational view. And then, of course, there is a third view, which is generally on the how we as a corporate community feels about it. First is personal view. I disagree to this narrative wherein we say that
Absolutely.
hiring veteran is a part of CSR. Ideally, it should not be. Second is organizationally also we don't do that. We have, uh, I mean, the basic principle of hiring people is that we have a role and then we
Yeah,
find the most suitable person to do that role. Uh,
correct.
and when I say most suitable person, it doesn't actually mean that we have any barriers around uh, backgrounds, around gender, or around any other professional experiences. There are certain skills, like if you are hiring a foreman, you really need someone who knows how to do the lathe. So I think that is a different story. But generally speaking, I don't agree that hiring veterans is a part of CSR.
Yeah.
It is a part of general talent acquisition effort.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
Also, there are certain roles which are very uh, I would say very suitable for the background of what a veteran or a Indian defense man or woman would bring in. And for that, I would be not amazed also if we have to seek specific uh, people from the defense, like as I
Hmm.
told, operations management, uh, supply
Yeah.
chain management, resource management, also of course, the obvious ones, which is security management. But generally speaking, I don't agree that hiring from ex-army men, ex-army women, or an ex-defense personnel is a part of the CSR. It is more than CSR. It is not a corporate social responsibility, but generally, it is business responsibility to get the right person for the right job. And we tend to see that given the experience that Indian defense gives to people, they are more suited for certain kind of job. So I would rather put it that way, that get the right job description first and then get the right person, irrespective of from where they are, uh, for that job. So that's my view on that.
Absolutely, Kunal, and we strongly agree to it. Colonel Sandesh, I'd like to know your views on the same.
I'm so glad to hear this, Krunal. I'm really very glad because you very rightly brought out. I think it's not about CSR. You're looking to hire a resource who's going to contribute, who's not going to become a baggage and is going to actually drive the teams and get the results. And I'm sure over the years the corporate world has seen the kind of skills and you already mentioned those in the beginning, and the veterans bring to the table. And I'm glad that you have that view, and I'm very sure that the corporate is not looking at as a CSR opportunity, and they understand that the veterans across the hierarchy, they bring a lot of skills and they are a contributor to the organization, not a baggage. And out here, again, I'm going back to because what I've seen, Krunal, and that's why I'm there. Rutuja, just give me 30 more seconds.
Sure,
I've
sure.
also seen that, thank you. I've also seen that normally we feel that when we look at the veterans, we look at only the officers community as veterans because they are more, visible to the corporate world. But let me also inform you and use this forum to inform the other uh, professionals that we have a wonderful talent pool lying in the ranks which are below the officers rank, and these are junior leaders who have been given the responsibility to manage teams, manage hold costly equipment, and get the work done on the ground. There's a wonderful pool of talent which is available, which is required to be, tapped, and surely it is not CSR. And I'm glad that Kunal brought it out. They are contributing at all levels. Thank you.
That is really, really amazing to know. Thank you. Thank you, Colonel Sandesh. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about training education. So, what training or education should employers provide to the managers and team to ensure they understand the unique skills as well as the challenges veterans may bring in and prepare them to create a very veteran supportive workplace that fosters inclusion and growth? Kunal, can you share your insights?
Yeah, I think first of all, the whole concept of uh, specializing a training to accommodate a special set of individuals in the organization, I disagree to that. Uh, I think that itself is creating a mindset differentiation in the people when we say that, okay, this is the training for accommodating veterans. I mean, why? They are just another employees. Uh, I would rather focus on training how team has to be built, how cross learning has to be focused. I would rather put their skills to practice around team management, resource management, organization building, and make that as a centerpiece of my training rather than
Yeah,
doing a training to kind of teach people how to accommodate veterans in your company. That I'm not kind of very comfortable with that. I would rather focus on general topics wherein I will be able to use take the benefit of an ex-Indian defense personnel and take all the benefits that we have. I mean, it's playing to strength. So I would I don't, I mean, I have not even participated myself or I have seen any such kind of a training which says that, okay, here is a training how to work with a veteran. That doesn't kind of resonate to me. I would rather focus on general skill building, relationship building, and team building exercises, which brings out the best of all the employees.
great, great. That's really, really enlightening and a different perspective. Thank you, Kunal. Colonel Sandesh, your thoughts?
It's a very interesting thought process and wonderful question, Rutuja, and interesting thought process that Kunal brought out. Kunal, in my opinion, I have seen two corporates and I've seen there is, a view slightly different than what you hold. And please pardon me for differing with you on that. You know, I'm very happy that you hold that view, and that is really wonderful. But I've also seen the some of the corporates, they start thinking that they also want the defense or veterans to get adjusted to the environment, and they want the results from them straight away within 2 3 months or so. I think it's very important to sensitize the corporate world to understand that the veterans are coming from a totally different environment. Not only the organization structure, the culture of the organization, the way they interact with people. If I may say a small thing like in the corporate, we refer to everybody with their first name in the armed forces. that is never done. So those small things. And somebody who served in the organization in such an environment for about 10 years or 14 years or 20 years plus, or maybe put superannuated by putting in about 35 years or so, uh, it may not be a such a swift transition for that person to adjust to the new culture. So my request to corporate world is through this forum, I'm also requesting the corporate world to maybe have little bit patience with the veterans, get them adjusted to the environment. Let me assure you, they will not take more time than what you probably feel, and they will very soon they will get adjusted to it. And once they get adjusted, I can assure you, whichever level you hire a source, they will surely surprise you with the results. So maybe at times, some teams will have to get adjusted because maybe the corporate, you need to get him included in the team, and maybe you'll have to do a little bit more than what you would do for somebody who's coming from a different company because the environment wouldn't have been that much different. It's only the culture would have, slightly there'll be variation in the culture itself. So there I would expect that maybe sometimes, some patience is given or maybe exercised from the uh, teams. Otherwise, yes, I'm glad that you still have that opinion that you don't require it. That's really wonderful. But yes, in the other
Yeah, I
places,
think
yes, I'm sure.
I kind of, but then uh, the point that I was trying to drive home is that uh, that's true for any recruit, and uh, I mean. Generally when we do the hiring right,
Yeah.
then these topics will be not so much of a topic. And my point of view was that probably they should not be treated indifferent. There has to be no special recognition of someone from a perspective that uh, creates differentiation rather than unifies. And that was the background. But generally speaking, I agree to what you said. And I would suggest that, I mean, my thought is that that's true for every recruit that we have. Everyone comes with a different background, different thought process. Some are fast learners, some are early adopters, some are not fast learners. So I think that is something which, on the topics like communication and soft skills, well, do agree with you that that is something which will require a kind of an organizational commitment to accommodate people with a different organizational backgrounds. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Pruna.
Thank you both of you for sharing those amazing thoughts. Also, Kunal, you mentioned that there are few success stories that you have. So would you like to share something for our audience?
Yeah. I think, see, I mean, I know personally there are two of my very close known people.
Mhm.
One of us work with me here in Entity Data Business Solution,
Uh-huh.
and one is currently working in Gartner. In I think he's in Middle East. So both of them, one is retired Indian Air Force, one is retired Indian Army. For last, I've known them for last 15 years now, and uh, the person who works here with NTT Data Business Solution is our also responsible for security and information security, cyber security, as well as information technology at times, uh,
Mhm.
generally. And so my experiences have been wonderful working with all of them. I think some of the areas where I see a huge uh, uh, di difference and that influenced me a lot is I'll tell you a personal story. I was this person with me worked with me in Gartner, and we both
Mhm.
were there at the same profiles. I was in western part of India. He was in northern part of India, and we kind of had a very good uh, formatry. Never ever had this kind of an distinction between what the backgrounds were. Um, but generally speaking, the thought process, the scale, and the execution discipline is something which I would definitely admire and learn. And 3 years working with him was amazing. I think that's something I learned, and probably uh, that's a very personal experience. But generally speaking, having a person with a 15 years of a defense background experience definitely brings in a lot of sense of uh, loyalty and discipline in the organization. And actually, it kind of becomes, it percolates below and above, so that which is currently kind of, I mean, we have all these definitions around employee loyalty, employer loyalty, and we say that, in IT it is 3 years. Uh, but we kind of still 3 years is becoming a challenge now, and that is something which is definitely uh, distinguished and very very important for all of us to learn. We are naturally loyal to our families. Why not work? And that's
Yeah,
that's how it is.
true. Thank you, Pranal, for sharing that with us. So, as we move to the final segment of the discussion, I would like to ask each panelist for their closing thoughts. What is one key takeaway you want to share with our audience? Pranal Sandesh, if you would like to go first.
So since we have two kinds of audience out here. One is the veteran community because they would also be viewing this, and the corporate world. So firstly, I have a message for the veteran community, and that is after listening to Kunal views, I'm sure it would have given them a lot of confidence that there is a world which is looking to hire you if you have the right. They know that you have the right attitude. If you have the right skill and if you fit the role, they will surely hire you and they'll embrace you with open arms. Just have trust and confidence on your capability, and you will open up loads of opportunities for you. So that is one for my veteran friends. The other one is for the corporate friends. Uh, when I look at Kunal views, it's so exciting, and I'm so happy to learn that corporate world is also looking at the veterans as a resource which is a contributing resource, which is going to drive their strategies forward, which is going to make sure that the organizations are able to achieve their goals and missions in a more effective manner, and they are waiting to hire the veterans. The veterans are also preparing themselves and just have trust in their capability. They will never disappoint you. They will really prove their capabilities once you embrace them in your teams. Thank you, Rutuja.
Thank you, Pranal Sandesh. Pranal?
Yeah, I think again a big thank you for having me here and being making me part of this very very ambitious campaign. I really personally am very uh, excited to be part of such journeys. Uh, I think you know, as I said, right, it is. Uh, a service above self, and that is something which has to be always kept in mind. My suggestion or my way of thinking is that even corporates have to look into uh, how they uh, how they open up their roles, how they market the roles so that it reaches to the veterans in the right direction. We don't actually need a very specialized recruitment methods to hire veterans. We need to kind of somehow create platforms which are more general, more open, so that the the application of a retired defense personnel can reach to the recruiter in a much faster and a much broader way. So that exchange has to be more broad, more open. Uh, Second is, I think the point that we don't want to consider hiring veterans as a part of CSR speaks volume. So let's hire them uh, on their skills, train them. See, they have generally, we have said that we always hire people on traits and impart them the skills. And here are the set of people who have all the right traits, and we really have to look what skills they would adopt fast and that's the whole adaptability topic that Colonel Sandesh started with.
Yes,
How do
correct.
we kind of make this people? Uh, I mean, they are naturally adaptable. Adaptability is a part of their trait. Uh, it is something which we'll have to work with. So for me, I think we have to broader our horizon beyond just classical jobs like security and so on and so forth. Open up the job world for them for the larger. Even veterans and all the people should be ready. Business at some point you will realize that after certain general management, everyone is a salesman or a saleswoman. There is no
Correct.
distinction between that. Even a board of director is a salesperson, and we should be all ready to do this kind of or any job that we want to do. Generally. So I think. Those are the 2 cents. It's more of a broad exchange, open ideas, open thought process, ready to learn on both the sides, recruiter as well as the person who is seeking the job, and that will bring a lot of change. Because we have been in a stereotype world and stereotyping uh, recruitment for veterans as a particular job profile or as a particular method of recruitment, which at some point has to break, and it has to be part of the general recruitment cycle with a very broad acceptance.
Correct. Thank you, Pranal. That was really, really very enlightening and a very different perspective. Thank you, both of you, for sharing those thoughts. It was
Thank you.
really a pleasure
Thank
having
you.
you. We deeply appreciate our panelists for their thoughtful contributions. It's been a rewarding session, and we hope it left you with invaluable insights and inspiration. Thank you, everyone, and have a fantastic day.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Tutuja, and thank you, Kruna.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.